G'day everyone, Jacob Conner here from Power Stance Gaming. Before this episode kicks off, we just wanted to acknowledge that we are aware that over the past couple of episodes, we've had some issues with our sound. In particular, this episode, there's quite a lot of echo and a lot of reverb. We've done what we can to eliminate it, and we are taking steps as of the following episode, which will be episode 210, to address it, including moving into a brand new studio, and that coupled with our new digital mixer and our fantastic new mics, hopefully should clean everything up. In the meantime, apologies once again. Hopefully it's not too distracting from the awesome content this episode, and thanks for your support, and hope it continues into the future. Thank you.
You're listening to Power Stance Gaming Podcast, the #1 podcast for gaming and hobby banter, with your hosts, Jacob, Brad, and Muddy.
Hey everyone, Jacob Conner here from Power Stance Gaming. Good to be with you once again, and it's great to be here with my amazing co-host, Mr. David Muddy Muddyman, and Mr.
Hey
Greg
guys.
Millsop.
Morning, listeners.
Greg, what have you been up to, mate? I haven't
have
seen much of you in the past couple of weeks.
been
Sleeping on park
what are we
benches.
talking about? Fake news, Muddy. Fake news. No, I've been busy with other stuff. So, but I have done some hobbiness. So, played Rory at a game of Alpha Bravo Charlie with the new militia rules, which was a lot of fun. Heaps of fun, in fact. Probably the most fun I've had with the game. And got completely caught up in it all and got my ass kicked with it. Didn't play them as they're supposed to be played, which is no surprise, really.
Good, so you got some quality play testing done.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not even close. But it was fun. It, like throwing petrol bombs and getting into combat was a lot of fun.
I'm particularly proud of the petrol bomb.
Yeah.
I think that's a cool
Yeah.
little-
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Did you actually move some
Yeah.
units?
I went like flying up at like in his grill, and then
Oh wow! So you actually played it. To
well,
the
yeah, I
thing.
did. I actually
You didn't like just walk from one side of the building.
no,
to
I
the
did
other side
actually
of the building?
charge him. I just like ran up as fast as I could up
wow.
the pitch.
Oh, we'll have to ask
No,
Rory.
it's
if
100%
this is
correct.
Fact check this.
I
Yeah, we're
We've
gonna have
heard
to
some
fact check this.
scurrilous rumours this evening, ladies and gentlemen.
just forgot that I've got to keep my crime boss really close to my chumps, and of course didn't at all, which is
Oh, so he got picked
yeah
off.
he got annihilated, and the militia work best with the crime boss close to hand, and of course him on the other flank, far away from his militia, just surprisingly didn't work, but a lot of fun.
Cool. Yeah.
Also watched Infinity War.
Shit, yeah.
Have you?
Haven't
Right,
seen it
so,
yet.
when are you going to watch it? We're going to be waiting like 6 months.
You guys can actually talk about it. I'll watch it when it comes, like whenever. Yeah,
When he purchases it on Blu-ray.
Yeah, straight to
Yeah.
comes out in Woolies.
It's Disney. I'm not going to be.
Yeah, right.
You're gonna have to
Massive
hide this
spoiler
somewhere.
drop.
Yeah, you might have to
Well, I'll just
write down
I'll just say-
specifically. Right.
if you, to avoid
Might
the
put it at-
spoilers. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Good idea.
Very good idea, Muddyman.
Finally, interestingly, picked up a copy of SFX magazine, which is a British science fiction magazine. And normally it's like whatever. I picked up from one
Because
of the
normally
kids.
you pick up SEX magazines, don't you?
No idea what you're talking about. So anyway, I was flicking through it, and lo and behold, this magazine is pretty much like movie based and TV show based. Get to the back of it, and it's got a review for Star Wars Legion, which I thought was really interesting. And they give it 4 out of 5, and they said it's very much limited to the contents of the box.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, then the next day, Big Mike, he threw up the like his game with Jed the other night, and when you see it played on the 6x4, 6x3, whatever it is,
6x3, yeah.
man, it does look good. It does look good,
Oh, aesthetically, it's a
especially
very
with
pleasing
your
game to look at.
buildings. Looks
Yeah, the ones I
sick.
flogged him, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
looks really good.
So he's got a snow mat,
Yep.
snowy trees, and those white buildings. And he
Oh,
was running
nice.
snow troopers and stuff.
Yep.
Looks
Again,
so
just
good.
the ATST towering over the battlefield.
Mm.
So cool.
With it,
It is, yeah. So it wasn't too big.
It's
It
big.
looked good
Yeah,
with the
it
snow
should be
speeder.
Yeah.
Looked awesome. So I must admit, I was like, oh yeah. And then now, come onto the news, but there's a few other things happening. I'm like, oh, it's looking good.
Well, let's get
So,
into it
we need
then.
to play a 6x3 game. We really do.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Bring it over.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Yep.
I'm
Need your copy.
stopped myself from buying a core box so many times. You've got one,
You
and
might as
you've
well
got
get it.
one. Like,
You feel left out.
I do, but like, I'm definitely getting into it. But I also want the tokens and the cards and stuff that you get in the core box.
Mm.
So maybe I'll just buy one.
Do it. Do it.
Just get
Who
one.
wants the Empire?
Just get one. Yeah, I hate painting
Stormtroopers.
bloody Stormtroopers. Yeah. They're not fun. To
I don't
paint.
mind them. They're dead easy. It's so easy.
Yeah, I don't
I like
them.
them. I'll grab it.
Prefer the
If
Rebel
you're not going to grab it,
paint
I'll grab it.
Rebels.
Your guide to painting a Stormtrooper is like 20 steps long.
Well, it's not.
You prime it grey, then you Zenithal,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then you work up from white with 7 shades. And stuff.
A little bit. I just want to do it on the basis, the Empire basis. I really want to see a full army decked out like that.
Yeah.
I think it would look awesome.
Well, I'm just going to go clear resin. I think I
Yeah.
already said that, yeah.
I think that would look really good too. Anyway, sorry, enough about that. So yeah, that was me. There we go. What's there? What you been up to?
When was the last time we spoke?
About 2 weeks ago.
So we done the BlizzCon wrap up. So it's been quiet. We've all had a bit of downtime, right? I did have one game.
Yep.
Cracker. But I'll let Jacob bring that up.
By this time, our listeners have probably seen the photos. You do it. It's your moment of glory.
Triassic Titans cleaned up, baby. Cleared the pitch.
So was it dice? There's dice involved in Rumble Slam.
There's dice, but it works both ways. It was a good game. No, it was a good game.
It's great fun. Really good fun.
Yeah. It was good to when we were rocking 1.6
million, yeah.
Yeah, 1 point. So it was good, bigger game.
I'm almost thinking 1.75. For a 2-player game.
I left.
Is that for rerolls,
I
Jacob?
took.
Yeah.
I actually took. I had to take a skink out, which left me 100k for rerolls. Yeah, because it was 50. I would have been 50 over. That was good. Yeah, okay. It was literally last night, and yeah, I still love it. I'm gonna give it $6.
Just know that next time you're going to get Comet and Phage. Yeah.
That's all right.
Phage.
I dealt with them just fine.
Is that her
Yeah.
real name, or is it actually a he?
No, it's the white-haired
Phage.
elf.
What are you? What parameters?
Nothing. I just think that's just very close to the bone of Phage.
No, it's a real thing.
If it was a chick, I'd be like, ooh, that's pretty close.
It is a chick.
Right.
chick.
Okay.
So you didn't even get the mini. She was the one that took out Warrior in one hit in our last game.
Yeah.
Played her.
Don't remind
You've
me.
seen
of
her
that.
before.
Don't remind me of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, easy. That means I'm just gonna have more guys too.
Yeah,
So.
bring it. So that was fun, getting munted by lizards.
The funny one was when I put the two big guys up on the turnbuckles, and the Gorgon spat at Trihorn,
Yeah,
and
just
he
turned
literally
into
fell off the turnbuckle.
That was pretty cool.
I was finally got it lined up for the big extinction event, and he freaking
Take out
fell
the
off
most
the
expensive model in
turnbuckle.
the game by looking at it. Yeah.
Yeah, 375, and he fell off the turnbuckle. I knew that was going to happen.
Hot, hot looking chick though, with the snake thing happening.
Yeah.
The great, it was a great combo having the entertainer who just gets off any wrestler's crowd pleaser,
Yeah.
and the Gorgon.
It's just was in
Yeah.
spot. I was literally that was who I was going to drop the extinction on, and yeah, good shot. Took it off. That's cool. He only had what 2 or 3 pips left anyway. He went.
He had
down.
3 left.
I think he threw 3 out though, or at least two. At least 2. Yeah,
Those big guys did most of the work.
yeah, because Croxy threw out at least another 2. Yeah, so it was good though.
It was great fun.
Yeah. Looking at
Yeah, I'd love to play the undead team.
Yeah, that'd be really
Yeah.
cool because I've been looking at that and going, oh, I wish I could have bought them, but someone else in our group bought them and hasn't used them. Who
Yeah,
is that?
they're constructed at least. They're built. Yep.
Are they? Have you actually
They're
constructed
built.
them? How many pieces did they come in, out of curiosity?
Maybe 3 at most.
For the whole team?
Oh, no. Some are 3-part. Yeah.
Okay.
That super glue just would not work. This friggin' Werewolf's Tale was a nightmare. I had to green stuff it on in the end.
Did you get Zapagap or
I haven't got that yet. I forgot what it's called. So
Trent? Seriously.
Where do you get it from again?
Ask Trent. Ask Trent.
Go back.
I should listen to the
Go
episode.
back and listen to your interview.
I was too busy
Ask
interviewing
Trent how to
right now.
model. You heard it
I'll
here.
just Google it. I'll Google
And
it.
if you haven't already, listeners, go back last week. We've got an amazing segment with Trent Denderson, amazing painter.
But apparently Greg hasn't
Because I
listened.
interviewed him, I didn't have time to write notes.
He
But
was there. He couldn't listen and
I
ask
can't-
questions at the same
exactly
time.
right. But what I did do was I did cut my finger with a knife, and I did use super glue on it. So cheers, Trent. Good effort.
job.
Oh, I remember that.
Well, see, you meant to use Zapagap on that too.
I just was like waiting for it to dry. It took a while. I know. I was thinking, what's that stuff called again? This would be really useful. I need to get it. That's what I'm going to do tomorrow. I'll definitely do it tomorrow.
Get down to Hobbyrama. You want some accelerant?
I'm sure I'll just get on eBay.
I think he even said
Hobbyrama.
it's at Hobbyrama.
Yeah.
I'm sure I can
It's
just get
yeah.
on eBay.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Jacob.
All yours,
So,
buddy.
it's been pretty quiet here too. We had our first long-awaited Garage Foe session the other night. So had
Yeah,
Josh
how'd that go?
Bruce and Josh Tith and Mr. Clayton Teshwood come around.
Chat
Flip some
that.
dice, flip some cards.
Flip some cards even.
That too?
Yeah, that too. And yeah, it was good. It was good.
How was your flipping? How'd your flipping go?
I was flipping awesome.
Awesome?
No,
Yeah,
not really.
good work.
Chad and I were both getting our heads back into the game, and we spent a lot of time reading cards and checking rules. So
Yeah, because we haven't played for a while, so it is a very heavy, crunchy sort of
Yeah.
game. So
and if
getting
you
your
are
head around it.
inclined to analysis, Malifaux can be a game where, you know, there's a lot of options to do at any given time. So,
Do you know the best method
not
for that?
care. Just do it.
Just do it.
That's
Just
it.
do it.
And that was probably the philosophy I was taking. It's it's not the most effective philosophy.
Did you lose?
I
Did you lose?
called it at turn 2.
Oh, okay.
At the end of turn 2.
Did you do a DT?
I did. There was no way I could come back from there. It
Yeah.
had also been 3.5 hours of game time.
How many turns is it? Is it 5? 5 and you randomize
5
it?
and then random. Yeah. So, but it just got to the point after 2 turns where too much of my stuff had just been pasted. So I was like, I can't do the.
You can't come back from
Yeah.
it, so you called it. Because that's a sign of a
But
good
allegedly.
player.
Yeah.
Hey, DT.
So playing my reses, had Seamus and the bells, and that was good. Except I couldn't summon. Like last time we played, and I was just summoning a bell every turn,
Yeah, but was that...
and I just couldn't get the cards off. I couldn't get crows in my hand because
Okay.
you need to summon with a crow,
Yeah, you got to get the right
Suit.
suit.
and I just
Suit,
could not
yeah.
get crows.
Dude, this it's such a crunchy game. We need to, I'm gonna be doing this too. I'm gonna be sitting there going, what?
Yeah.
But I'm quicker in that. I just do
Yeah,
stupid
and
stuff.
Chad was playing Gremlins, which he hadn't played before, which was probably
Yeah.
another thing that slowed us down because
And they'd be pretty random, right?
not really the list he took. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can take
okay.
random lists, but his was very straightforward.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's fun though.
And the Joshes, how'd they go?
Yeah, good. JT used my Ortegas,
The Mexican
Yeah.
Cowboys?
and
Yeah.
Josh Bruce had his Gremlins.
Oh, okay, so there's two
Gremlins.
Gremlins. Oh, that wouldn't, so did you guys ask each other questions in regards to how the Gremlins
Yeah,
sort
Chad
of
and
mechanics
Josh
were
were doing
working?
that,
Yeah, cool.
So yeah, it was fun.
Oh, cool. Well, that's going to be
Yeah,
a regular
we'll-
sort of, a semi-regular
Garage
sort of
Photo
thing?
2 will
or-
be coming up.
Yeah,
and-
yeah.
we'll just post some photos and I think we've had some interest on the Facebook. But
Yep.
as I said, we're just noobs learning
We're not
the game
there
yet.
yet,
Once
right?
we do,
Yeah.
I'm mad keen to do some more events. So maybe Malifaux event somewhere, maybe Magic Vault or
Oh, like actually going to like a
yeah,
small-
just having
like,
a
rather
not
than
a tournament, but like a casual day.
Yeah. I don't think I could
Organised
do
games.
a tournament. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
That's
too
a really
heavy
good
for me.
idea.
Yeah.
Casual.
A Rumble Slam tournament? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
kind of past the competitive tournament stage. But if someone
Yeah.
said, "Well, get a day, we'll just do round robin games and have some fun," then man, I'm there.
Yeah, that'd be all right. Yeah, quiet drink. Oh, there you go. Pop over to the orderly.
That's where it's
Get a
out.
steak.
Yeah.
Free
Karaoke.
chips.
Listen to
Thanks,
some
Nathan.
awesome karaoke.
Karaoke
Free
night.
Yeah.
Free chance, baby.
Everyone's a winner.
Yeah, so that's pretty much me.
Nice cruisy 2 weeks.
Do you want to, considering we've got a lot to talk about tonight, and we've got the big spoiler special Infinity War chat at the end of the episode,
That's going to the back.
do you want to get straight into the news?
100%.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
Yeah.
So, first one.
What do you got, man?
Well, Fantasy Flight, they're kicking some goals. They've released the Boba Fett and Scout Troopers expansions. Well, they've released the pics of them, and I think they look amazing. I think Boba Fett looks fantastic.
Boba Fett's on the flying base. I'm very excited
Yeah.
about that.
And he's a specialist operative. Have you not seen this, Muddy? No? Yep. Looks fantastic. So,
Yeah.
I have been completely, after BrizCon, tools down. I just took myself off, did the work, did the kids, yada yada. The first day that I realistically came back, I did a little bit of painting, was for
Yep.
the Rumble.
So
Yeah.
apparently you can have your commander, and then you can have up to 2 specialist operatives, of which Boba Fett is one. So he can join your forces.
And he adds command cards.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
sure.
he does.
Yep.
So you know how like Vader and Luke have their command cards. Yeah, Boba Fett adds his in to the deck as well.
And he's got lots of cool toys.
When's this? What's this flag?
No idea.
for?
I would
It's
guess.
FFG,
Okay.
so 6 months.
I was going to say 6 months.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. They seem to be punching them out because it's the new game. You got to really get that.
But we've still got Solo and the Rebel Commandos to come yet.
That's what? Is it the August one?
Again, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about exact
Okay.
dates. And the Scout Troopers look great. So you got your little dudes on the bikes. Instead of being on the bikes, they're now on foot. So expect them to be quite flight-footed. Expect them to be quite quick.
Yeah.
Still.
I think they're going to play differently to the Snow Troopers.
Yes.
So the Snow Troopers only move one, but they can
Move and shoot.
shoot after a move.
Yeah.
Once per turn. So I think you might sort of get the opposite. These guys might be quicker, but less effective shooting.
I'd say so. Yeah,
Yeah.
get that flanking maneuver in.
Yeah.
So pretty exciting stuff. Also, Fantasy Flight have come out and said they're going to redo X-Wing and come out with the second edition X-Wing.
Yeah, I saw that. I did see that.
So clean up a lot of the rules apparently in inverted commas, make things more streamlined, take away points, put points within on their database on their website,
On there, yeah.
which I think is a great move.
Yeah, I mean, we look at Infinity that does this, and it's a way to hot fix when something's throws the balance out. They just can drop it a few points or, increase the stat by 1 or something like that. So, it's the way of the future, I think.
Well, talking
To
about
have that.
points, they've actually said they're doubling the points for each of the ships.
Yeah, just to have that extra.
Wriggle room.
Yep.
So we don't know. Like I must admit, I started watching the YouTube video about the changes, and then sort of stopped halfway through because a lot of them didn't actually mean a lot to me. But apparently, it's just to clean up a lot of the different types of fighters and whatnot they've got. Apparently they started introducing different ways of I suppose the same mechanic, but different ways of playing with it on the table. So just streamlined it and cleaned it up. So I've got Muddy here going through the news as I speak, and he just showed me Age of Sigmar have announced that they're coming out with their second edition.
New edition.
Yeah, yeah. I think one of our
Cynical.
cynical gaming buddies said they're going to put a 5th page on the rulebook.
Yeah, and interestingly, they reckon it's about 4 weeks away. Not, it's not months away, but it's just around the corner. That's what the ears and our little spies are saying.
Oh, wow.
So it'll be interesting to see what that heralds.
So how does this work with the what were they calling is it Legends or something like that?
I'm not sure. I think, as Jacob said,
I guess it's all compatible. It would be silly and obviously bring that out and then it not.
Yeah,
be
you'd
Yeah,
think
no,
so.
they're not going to change any of the core mechanics of it. All they're
Yeah.
doing is just going to tighten up the rules. And,
Yeah.
you know, the thing that Age of Sigmar struggle with is they've gone, here's a non-competitive rule set that, of
Now
course,
make it
got
competitive.
shoehorned into a competitive environment.
Yeah.
So what they're doing is they're just tightening the rules to make sure it works in a competitive environment.
Mm.
And I think that you look at the Legend stuff, and really all it is an updated War Scroll. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's all they've done is fix the keywords.
It's the first step.
I don't know what mountain you're expecting them
So
to.
just for our listeners, the legends
Tell me.
are the old 8th edition armies. So they've just updated all the war scrolls for them. Have they updated
They've
them
updated
all?
one.
Just Dark Elves.
just Dark Elves.
It's only Dark Elves at the moment. Yeah, I'm assuming there'll be another elf list. Will be the next one.
I think when they do a release, they'll do the 8th ed version of the army. So they'll go, oh, here's okay. If Undead comes out next, which I think you're going to talk about in the news. They'll go, look, here's your vampire counts list.
Yeah.
Isn't this fun? But you know, it's not as fun as it could be. You should
Look at these
upgrade.
big, beautiful models.
Yeah. Yep.
What do you think, Muddy? Well, look at those big, beautiful models. And speaking of which,
Yeah.
undead models.
No, those
You know what they
models
do?
look
This
good.
is all just a warm up for when they go back to square bases in formations. Right? That's all. This is just testing.
That's
them
what I
all
want
out.
them
Put
to
a couple of
do.
the models aside. Playing on
That's
6x4.
awesome. They'll do it. They'll do it.
So undead, the new Age of Sigmar undead force. What do you think? The
It looks
Night
freaking
Haunts
amazing.
Is
Yeah. Those models look amazing.
G-Dub have the best miniatures on the market. Change
Hands
my
down.
mind.
Hmm.
Go on.
Yep.
Do it.
it.
plastic models.
No. No.
They're the
They
best.
are the best.
They are
I'm gonna
the
disagree with
best.
Who's better?
I still think Corvus Belli, like as far as the poses and the
The poses. I'm standing slightly sideways with a gun.
yes, I
That's
love
my
it.
pose.
I love it. I do love it.
I'm on a fucking dragon, bro.
I have to say though, the undead models, the way they've actually got them, they brought the flight, the fact that they're barely touching the ground. You know, they made the wraith-like.
Have they got tactical rocks to help them with that?
Got tactical robes that are touching the ground, if you want to call them that.
I think was it they were an undead release a few years back. Was it I can't remember what they're called. The spirit hosts and then the bigger ones that they brought out in plastic with the vampire counts.
Yeah, the spirit hosts were. Yeah.
But there was a bigger one as well. And I've got a box of them somewhere. I was going to use them as water elementals for my Brotherhood army in Kings of War.
I'd have to see it to see
Yeah.
what I mean. Yeah.
But like, it's sort of that next level stuff. You
Yeah.
know, it's just the sculpting's incredible, amazing.
You can't help but want to get them.
I do say, like, I didn't see them until tonight, and I was like, oh, wow, that's different. That's pretty cool.
So, if you had to compare this release with the Atlantic Elves?
Oh,
Would you-
I'd love.
You
love
take the undead?
The
Yeah,
Mike,
okay.
Big Mike on the game, like on one of our chats, he summed it up. He said, he didn't know where he just doesn't quite get the idea. Kin.
Is it just a bit too different? It's
for
just
me,
it's too new.
For me, like I get it. I get where they're going, but seeing swimming, sharks like cruising along and big turtles, it just doesn't float my boat. Like, yes, the models are great.
Okay.
Hats off. They do look exceptional, and it's ballsy taking a different arc. But for me, I just like, as Mike said, you fight an aquarium, like therefore then the army's coming to you and you're fighting under the sea. Like, I thought that was quite funny. The chat we had, the chat that
It's magic, bro.
yeah, I know, but I just don't. I'm in Mike's camp. It's one step too far for me.
They're just using the force.
Yeah, okay.
A wizard did it.
Yeah, Wizard.
But, I can't get over the fact that they did it. And yet, you're right, they just had the balls to say, this is elves now.
This is where it is. Yeah.
Deal with it. Like, it's so, I just thought, hats off to them, just for doing something so different.
Well, we've done wood elves. We've done sky elves to a certain extent with high elves. What else? Oh, hang on, there's the ocean. Let's do that. Well, yeah, why not?
Let's do some seamen.
Yeah. Love those seamen. So, what else we got? We got from G-Dub, so some big news. The Adaptus Titanicus picks were dropped. So, at Warhammer Fest. So
It's pretty good.
These little
This is set in 30. This is set in the 30K universe.
It's heresy territory.
heresy, yeah.
Yeah, so it's limited in that. If they could have done this in the expanded 40K universe.
Well,
Oh,
it does say in their release that for now in brackets it's Marine against Marine for now in brackets. So that's from GW.
Oh.
It's pretty good looking, isn't it?
You know how you're telling that story about the guy with the guns?
Yeah.
I just thought.
So apparently the Warlord Titan is the same size as a thing in 40K, the Knight. So
Yeah.
it's about 9 inches tall, I reckon. I think that's about the size of a Knight, isn't it?
But they've got all the other
Yeah.
smaller ones
Yep.
as well.
Yeah, the
Reaver.
Night Titans are about the size of a Marine now, aren't they? A Primaris Marine.
Yep.
Yeah.
A 40K base. Oh, sorry, 40 millimeter.
40 mil base.
40 millimeter base.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's like the chats that I've been, or the Facebook messages I've been seeing, people are a bit worried about the price point for the game. But I think it'll be the same price as like a Necromunda box set or whatever. It's going to be in that price point, I think.
Those initial boxes they usually do are really the price point's really
The
good.
price is going to jump up
Yeah.
when you buy their official terrain.
Yep.
That's when it's going to
Most
get expensive.
definitely. Like, and the train looks
Well,
brilliant.
It said that the terrain's going to be in. Some
Yes,
of that's going to
it'll
be
be
in
just
the
a-
box.
but it'll be a
I'll be
starter.
interested to see how much
It'll
of it
be
will
starter.
be in there.
So
Oh,
it'll be, you'll probably get just one Warlord each and probably 3 Reavers and maybe like a handful of Knights.
just
So
buy a
it'll be
couple
enough-
of the initial
It'll be enough
boxes.
just to get your appetite wet and you'll be like, ooh.
Yeah, but that's
It's like Fantasy Flight. You need
You
two
need 3.
boxes.
You need bloody...
But Fantasy Flight went. Theirs is
No,
you need two
you need
core
more, you need
boxes.
3.
All right, what else is on the cards?
Just one thing on
Oh,
the
sorry.
Adeptus Titanicus thing. So my sources tell me that apparently if sales do go off the chart, if sales go really well, they're going to look at Epic. But sales have to go really well for the Titans for them to go, yep, let's do the tanks. Let's do the troops, the tanks.
We had a chat about this quite a while back. Where we said it was something about if you could bring one game back, what would it be? Like
Yep.
done now, and we all agreed. I think Epic would be.
Yeah,
one of them.
for me, Epic for sure.
Me too. I bet for different reasons they never did Necrons, and the Tyranids were pretty past. But imagine doing them now in plastic and everything else. It'd be just crazy good.
So what's his space? I think it's going to be a very interesting release later this year. I think it's slated for November.
Can't wait to play it when you.
Just in time for Christmas.
Can't wait to play it when you guys buy it. That'd be great.
And again from GW, Sisters of Battle pick. So there's only one pick at the moment of a plastic. It's
pretty good though, isn't it?
It's one of the best pictures of. This is recreating one of the White Dwarf covers, if not the Sisters of Battle Codex. I'm pretty sure it was Sisters of Battle's Codex that image.
Yeah.
And they've recreated it in plastic.
So the question is still the same.
Do I
Are
need
you
to go back
gonna-
and play the clip
No,
from the
you don't.
episode?
Look, if I have oodles of cash and the time, then yes, I'll get them. But the reality is, right now at this point in May,
2 words. After pay.
not even after pay, I need a 26-hour day at this stage. So, can you do that for me?
Just don't sleep so much.
We can't even figure out daylight savings here in Queensland. And we're on a 26-hour day.
Never say never. I think we've got to play 40k again.
I actually had a DM from a listener the other day saying, when is our 40k update coming out?
Yeah.
So I guess it's got to be soon.
Got to be soon. Be interesting because we were just talking about Legion. I'm playing a big game of Legion, and now there's only so much time in the day, only so many systems.
It's because there's so many
Why don't you paint
games.
your undead Rumble Slam miniatures?
How hard is it?
You're looking at me. I painted an entire Tohar army in 3 hours.
3 minutes.
Okay, next up we have the
It's not.
Tunguska
Tunguska.
Help me out here, Jacob.
Tunguska.
Yep, that's it. Jurisdictional
X-Files.
That middle word is giving me hassles. Anyway,
Jurisdictional.
that's it. Nice one. It's your bloody Guinness, your eel. That's been released, which I have to say looks pretty cool. I do like the looks of the Hollow Man. This is Infinity Muddy. You staring at me.
Oh,
blank-faced.
sorry. I was getting a bit
So a lot of people are
sleepy.
getting chubbies over that. I have to say, it looks business. Looks
Just for
People
Marty's
need
sake,
to
how
go
many
out.
tactical
Have a look
rocks
at
are on these models?
I didn't see any.
Zero.
Because they're on a bloody spaceship. That's why. And why would you have rocks on a spaceship?
I don't know.
They could have. I would have laughed if they had still done it.
But they do look good. They look great. The models look fantastic. As
They're pretty
always.
good. Yeah. Again, like the poses are a bit flat. Corvus
Yeah.
fairly standard.
Not a lot of robe.
Not a lot of.
I have to say, the Hollow Men in particular, I do think look fantastic. Like he's got a cloak, and he's sort of half. This is great radio, but he's sort of half turned around with his sort of arm, like sort of reaching round past the cloak. Looks fantastic.
Sounds like one of those guys that like flashes himself.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I do have to say, I assembled the Uprising box the other day and gave it a lick of undercoat. And the models in there are pretty damn cool. The Tanko, the big heavy infantry on the Silhouette
Big
5
samurai dude,
with the flags on his back. Nuts. So good.
and
And
go
they're-
go together really well, like easily.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I had no problems. I've heard people have been having problems. But it's funny how, like, the two chunks of metal sort of click them together and twist. And that's like his torso and legs twist into shape. And mine fit perfect. No issue. Didn't even need to gap fill it. But I've heard people having issues with theirs.
Didn't know that. There you go. So you haven't painted them already? You haven't like smashed them out?
No, I haven't smashed them out. I'm on an infinity lull. As I said, I can't bring myself to...
Look, to be fair, so
Yeah.
am I.
There's
So
so
am
many
I.
games.
I'll be honest. I'm balls deep into ABC at the moment. Like I'm just trying to get through it all.
Yep.
Get stuff done. So we also have. I thought it was a bit interesting. So we just had the Batman game that reached like 4 million whatever. Like it just skyrocketed and was super successful.
Yep.
And now we've got another announcement that there's going to be another Batman game. With this time, Batman the Animated Series. Which I thought, really? Like, so
Who's producing
soon?
that?
I must admit, I didn't look. I didn't check. But I thought, oh, come on.
Is this a Kickstarter?
Come
thing?
on.
No, like, yeah, I'm using the word come on, but
Yeah.
I don't think it is them. I just thought, like, how many Batman games do you have to have?
Well, one's just like you said, 4 mil. So obviously,
There's a market.
So how many Batman families
Yeah.
are out there?
Well,
A few.
$4 million says it must be a fair few. So
And also Hellboy Kickstarter. Do you know what that's currently sitting at?
last time I looked, it was a huge.
It's
amount.
in Australian, 1.8 million. Almost 1.9.
Yeah.
By the time we finish recording, it'll be 1.9.
It's still got tons of time to go. I'm blown away
Ronnie
by that.
Rent's
I
gonna
didn't
be
realize.
rolling around in a Lexus, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't realize that many people would be that keen
Near die.
for a Hellboy.
No,
board
I
game.
didn't think it had that much of a following.
Did you see the one of the minis? They're doing some sort of a Mexican
Yeah.
theme.
Hellboy
thing,
in
and
Mexico.
there's I wanted to get. All I want is the bat in the wrestling gear.
Oh, really?
Yeah. For Rumble Slam. Get a
Well, just
vampire.
invest whatever it is, like $400 or whatever it is for your Hellboy game. Okay, so that's Hellboy covered, and then we got our friends at BP Laser. So their Kickstarter's kicking along nicely, 327% funded, and a nice, cool $10,700 in the kitty. Well done.
It's still and that's
Yep.
still running.
Which is nice when you do the math on that. That's, what, 30 sets,
Yep, roughly.
roughly?
Yep.
Bloody awesome.
So good on you. Good on you, Paul. Well done.
Yeah, it's and we'll put up the links again and encourage everyone to check it out. It's just an amazing piece of kit. All right, cool. We'll leave it there. Thanks, Greg. Once again, if anyone has some news or stuff we've missed, hit us up because while Greg does have his finger on the pulse, me and Marty generally just rely on him. So. And he'll go, do you have any news? And we're like, oh, you covered all the stuff we found. So if you've got any good scoops with me and Muddy to sneak in at this section,
Yeah, we got nothing.
let the team down. But we're good looking, so we make
Yeah,
up for it.
We make
Yeah.
up for it another way.
That's
That's
it.
right.
That's what I tell my wife.
Hang on a second. Every time we actually meet listeners, they're always saying, so who's who on the t-shirt? Because we all look exactly the same. So does that mean by default I'm good looking too?
Yeah, what we need, maybe we need to change the images to have Greg lying on a park bench Then people would go, "Oh, that's that drunk guy." Over
Here's some
there."
news for you. We've just released the Grumpy Greg 3 Dice shirt.
Oh, that was a sourpuss.
Check it out. Purchase it.
I don't know where you're getting this from. That is just totally fake. Just do not know where you're getting it from.
That's not from us. That's people telling us.
Well, you know, I just gotta play the review as I see it. I can't doll it up.
No, I didn't.
Doll it up.
He
I didn't
even give
I didn't
5
make it
guys
up.
to Aristea. So,
No. After we
Yeah.
bought it, and he's gonna buy it, and he bought
Hang
extra
on,
dice. For it
how
as well.
many Rumble Slam dice did I give? Yeah, there you go. On a 5 dice scale.
But he hasn't painted any.
yeah, but the ghost of Joseph Stalin would give that game 6 dice. Freaking awesome.
That's a good point. How dare you? How dare you, sir? I think we need a duel.
Woo! All right, let's get into our next segment, which I believe is another rules mass debate.
Ooh.
Time for a big debate about rules. A rules mass debate. I don't get paid enough to do this.
Got your tissues ready?
All right, guys. This is something I've actually been wanting to talk about for a while. With you.
Pondering.
And since we've been working on game design over the past year now. Happy anniversary, by the way.
Oh yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah. What are you doing? You're making me nervous, bro.
You know, there was a time when Muddy rocked up with nothing to these shows, and he'd fly by the seat of his pants. And now you give him an iPad, he's a nightmare. He's a dead set nightmare.
Yeah, but I'm not actually. I've got no notes. I'm just looking at
You
YouTube.
you are looking at Macho Man throwing creamer packets at people, aren't you?
I was going to put it on here.
Anyway, so back to the topic at hand, which was that's right. So what I want to talk about, the rules mechanic I want to talk about tonight, and get your opinions on
Feedback.
and have a bit of a toss around, is the good old saving throw.
Oh, yes.
Now, I did a little bit of research on this. Do you know where saving throws come from?
Oh, I don't know.
A mummy saving throw and a dadding saving throw? No.
I would say RPGs.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the term saving throw was first used in the first edition of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Oh, right. There you go.
That makes
So this
sense.
is the red box.
Yeah, 1974,
Oh, wait up. No, it's not red box.
isn't it?
No, that wouldn't have been. They would have come out in the 80s or 90s. You know, the red. And there was the blue.
Hang on, I got it on my
there was
shelf. I'm going to go
aqua.
check.
Yeah. Well, there must have been a set of books prior to that.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
That'd be like 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, the red box was 1983.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is a reprint.
Yeah.
So yeah, 1974 was when the first edition of Dungeons and Dragons came out.
Jesus.
And that's the first time we had saving throws. But what we've come to experience as a gamer is that saving throws sort of crept into tabletop hugely.
Mm.
So I guess this sort of come to my mind when we were working on ABC, and we had a conversation about, do we put saves in?
Do we? Don't
Yeah.
we?
And at the
Okay.
time, we were using a limited resource as a deck of cards in the turn, and we thought making saving throws made you burn your cards in your turn. And what that did is, if you went first and you could get hits on, you really limited your opponent, and it wasn't necessarily a fair mechanic. So we looked at ways of building out the saving throw, you know what I mean? And that was really interesting to see how that sort of worked. So we still had the idea of, you want to make yourself hard to hit, but when you are hit, then it come down to a wound flip with the wound deck rather than you flipping for a saving throw.
And that's random as well. Well, semi-random.
But I think that was a big departure for us because we've been playing for the past however long games with saving throws. Infinity, armor saves,
40k.
40k armor saves and moral saves, fantasy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was sort of a bit of a shift that took some getting used to at first.
Mm.
But now the more I played with it, the more I think, do we really need saving throws in the game? Let's throw that out there. And
Well, here's a question, because whenever we first started talking, it got me thinking. The Kings doesn't have saving throws.
Nope.
Yeah, it's just you've got your defense.
Do nothing.
Yeah, you've got your defense.
So a lot of people will build their list on their defense. And that's a way of almost building their armor saving throw almost into it. So it's there, but by not having it, it speeds up the game.
Yeah.
But you do lose some of the interaction because obviously, therefore, you're not trading dice, yada yada. It's like literally my turn, your turn. You guys have the armor throws, don't you? Saving
In
throws.
Infinity. Yeah, I actually quite like it. Maybe not so much the armor point of it, but I like the way that cover. So Infinity uses D20 system to work out results, and if you're in cover, and that's worked out by various means, if you're defined as being in cover, then you get +3 to your armor save. So that's essentially the bullets pinging off your cover or whatever you're in.
But this is when you guys do the face off.
so
Well, you've got to get shot at
first.
Yeah, you've got to be hit.
But that's the saving throw.
No.
No, it's not. So it's you get hit, and there's a way to work that out. And then once you're hit, then you roll the number of dice that you've been hit by, and you get a +3 modifier to whatever you got to save on, and that depends on the damage of the weapon. So you're saving against the damage of the weapon, which again is quite, I think, an interesting way of doing it.
But that's how fantasy and 40k work.
Well, fantasy
Your
and 40k were
arms.
different. I'm not too sure. Fantasy worked off a static one value and a plus or minus depending on what armor you wore against what you're hitting against. Whereas 40k back in the olden days, I can't remember what it's like now.
40k is the same. Like
Is it changed
it's
now to the
modified
same?
by the weapon's AP. So rather than the strength of the weapon, by the AP value of the weapon.
Yeah, but is it? I know the old 40k. If you had an armor save of 2+, it was always 2+ unless you're hit with an energy weapon that could beat 2 AP. In which case, then
No, they got
that's changed, hasn't it?
Yeah,
That's changed in the
it's
edition.
changed, yeah.
Yeah.
It's essentially a ward
Yeah.
save. Realistically.
Yeah.
But it's changed.
So, I guess coming from that, like you used to get, and I get what Marty's saying. You build your army in Kings of War around your defense, and the same in ABC. If you want your guy to survive, you give him body armor and you give him a ghillie suit, and you make him hard to hit, and you lessen the effect of the hits, but he still doesn't get a chance to.
Yeah, there's no rolling for it.
There's no,
Which does streamline
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
But I also think of the old days where, right, so here's my bus full of knights with a 1-up armor save and a 3-up ward in the fantasy days, and you just knew you could hit it with 100 shots, and you might take one knight off at a time, and it was just a painful sort of thing. And it was a crutch. It was, they called it the anvil of the list. That goes out, it holds everything in place while you hit. And I think if you took away that sort of the saving throw mechanic there, and you go, right, well, you've got to weigh up your risk. You can charge your knights out, but if they just sit there, then they're going to get, you know what I mean? Like there's that risk. It's not just a brick that goes out.
I totally get it. I think for me, 40k and even fantasy changed the saving throw and took it that one step further with the magical and the wards, the whatever it's called in 40k, but the ward save, which was the magical save in fantasy, where you could have the 1+3+ or the 2+2+, which the 2+ was modifiable, so you could potentially get hit by a cannonball and you'd get rid of that 2+, which was your armor on your mounted knight. But then you had the bloody 2+ ward save, which was always 2+, and it could never be modified. And you're just like, oh, come on, like, seriously, like, it might have been as bad as that. It might have been 3+, but still. There was one character that had it was 3+ ward save, and it was ignoring ones or re-rolling ones. So essentially, you can only ever feel on 2s. I think it was a Dark Elf character or a Chaos character.
I think it was a Dark Elf character.
Yeah, and it was just insane. And it was use the term broken, and it just felt a completely unfair advantage and silly, as well. So yeah, I didn't like that. I think the saving throw, I would love it almost to be, I think it needs to be, I would like to see it better thought out. I think, again, look, everyone knows I'm an Infinity fanboy, but I think Infinity does do it in a clever way.
And look, I think the other thing too is coming from playing RPGs recently that don't have saving throws in them as well, which is, you build your character's defense. Then if anything gets through that defense, then so be it. You've taken the hits. And that's, the Star Wars FFG system, the Genesis, and even 2D20 system that Modiphius use in Infinity.
Well, here's a question for you, and it probably came true whenever I played Star Wars RPG, and I felt almost that the characters were almost unkillable. Like they took a hell of a lot of punishment before they would ever go down, more so than what you would expect from a normal. Because at the end of the day, your characters, certainly in the infancy of the RPG, are very much normal people, or to a certain extent normal.
Yeah.
And then they get boosted as they get their XP throughout the campaign. But I must admit, I can't remember what it was, whether I got hit by a lightsaber or did I hit somebody with a lightsaber. And I felt like, oh, that should be it. Like, you watch the movies, boom, done. But no, I think, or did I get hit in the head? Or I can't remember, something happened. I just thought, I should really be dead now. But I just essentially was unconscious, and we ended the count. Ended that particular episode, and then we go to getting the what do you call it, the fighter or whatever, and I'm all healed by the next time we come around. I sort of felt it was a bit.
I guess it's probably an interesting example because those games are storytelling games, and you don't necessarily want your characters dropping dead halfway through a fight scene just because they got a lucky hit on them. Whereas in a war game or something, if a character dies, so be it, kind of thing. But coming back to the thing Muddy said about the interaction with the saving throw, what do you think of that, Greg?
Pros and cons. I must admit, the more watching you playing Kings of War at BrizCon, it's such a clever system. It's such a clever game. It looks so simple on paper, but it's so well thought out. And like I said, the fact that they don't have that saving throw element, it speeds it up. I think anything that can streamline and make it a better experience for players, I think is good. And there's nothing worse than you come up against a bad guy, or you got a unit and you thrash it, and odds on, statistically, you've beat it. Mathematically, probability's been in your corner, and then your opponent rolls a bloody dice and jags 6/6s or whatever statistically anomaly is out there.
I suppose it does take out your opponent's dice rolls.
Yeah.
If they've got those dice that are just high,
Yeah.
it takes that out of the equation. You can't say, it's one less element of being diced off the table, I suppose you could say.
And
And
interestingly,
I'm a big fan of that. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like it's one more lot of dice rolls that your opponents not having to make now that can influence the game, I
and
suppose.
interestingly, I was listening to a podcast, believe it or not, War Games Strategy, and I forget the second part of it, the one that you mentioned last ago.
Which one?
Anyway,
With Rick Priestley?
No, well,
Yeah.
literally it was this month's where they got Rick Priestley on, and he was, and this might sort of digress a bit, but essentially he was saying the more D6s you roll, the more you're leaning towards, what's the word? A statistical, what's the word? Like, not probable, but definite outcome.
Yeah.
As in, if you roll 60 dice, you're going to roll 6 1s, 6 2s, or not 60, was it 36?
It becomes
Yeah.
numerically
36
more of a
dice.
yeah. It balances
Exactly
out.
right.
Yeah.
It's pretty much, if you
And,
take...
the podcast is War Games, Soldiers, and
That's it.
Strategy.
So
Yep.
if you take, your deviation from the norm is not going to be that high, and that's what Kings does really well. Whereas your individual, when you get it down into, say, and I'm guessing here, 9th Age, if it's back to the old fantasy days, where it's maybe you're rolling 5 armor saves, that's not statistically accurate. You're not going to get correct data because it's not enough dice to get a good result from. So you could roll, out of those 5 dice, you could roll 5 6s. It's absolutely possible you could roll 5 6s.
Yeah.
But when you put it on a large number, it balances out.
Yeah, and that's totally the thing with dice games. The more dice you roll, the closer to the middle your results get.
Yeah.
And I think the Blood Bowl is a perfect example of this. If you in Blood Bowl you're trying to minimize the amount of dice you roll,
Go for it!
and that one dice you may have only chucked 3 or 4 dice in a turn, and you need this one dice to come off, and that's the one that fails.
Yeah.
And it sticks out like dog's balls because you just
Or you
haven't
make it.
rolled the dice.
Millsy. There you
Millsy jags it, yeah.
go. Yeah, Millsy. I need 2 6s, whatever.
And interestingly, on the same, it was that episode or the previous episode, again, they were talked briefly about armor saves, and one of the chaps on there did say he just coming from an historical background, gaming background, just didn't get it. Just didn't get why you would get an armor save. Like it just didn't make any sense. Like if you're hit by an arrowhead, you're done for.
Well, that's it.
You're gone.
It's gone through your armor already.
That's
It's
right.
gone.
It's hit
through-
you.
It's hit you. It's wounded you against your toughness.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the thing that always wigged me about fantasy is that they literally go, right, you've been hit, you've been wounded, now what does your armor do?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, shouldn't that step be in the middle? Shouldn't you go, well, I have my armor save, and when I fail that, then you wound me?
Mm.
Yeah, because you've already factored in toughness at some point too.
Yeah,
so-
that's right. It's this poor little, again, those one-off situations where you want the little guy to win, and he's done the hard bit, and
Yeah.
then, you know, you
And then he
get
won
the big
up.
bad guy, just
Two up.
just shrugs it off. Yeah.
2 up.
You know,
Yeah.
you've got through, but well done, but nah, actually.
Yeah, chop chop.
Exactly. So I think though it's funny having now played lots of different systems. I think post 8th edition fantasy, you can see how almost badly, like it needed overhaul. And yes, okay, we've got Age of Sigmar, but bloody hell, they could have easily done it within the the fantasy confine, the typical fantasy confines, and made a stellar game.
You know, I want to bring up Star Wars Legion here. I'm annoyed they have saving throws in Legion.
Oh, okay. Why? Because the Stormtroopers never hit anything.
Well, not just that. Like, I thought FFG have the elegance of the system that they don't necessarily need to have saving
I
throws.
I see. Yeah,
And I think
but they've reverted back to an older, more
Yeah.
archaic form of getting business done.
and I think you've got your Jedi characters might have deflect with their lightsabers, which
makes
is
sense.
cool.
Yep.
Yep,
Yeah.
makes sense. But again, like, okay, the saving throws on the troopers. Yeah, I don't know.
Particularly when you have the dodge mechanic as well, where you can negate your player. You know, you get attacked, you counter and I say, well,
And you're
you
using
said roll
cover.
6 dice money at me. You're gonna roll,
Yeah.
you know.
So
two
cover
less.
takes away hits,
Cover.
dodge takes away hits.
It's
You hit
another
me,
layer.
but then I still roll my save. And again, I guess it comes from me. It jumps out at me Star Wars, because Star Wars for me is not about boots on the ground. It's about heroes. But
Yep.
suddenly, your boots on the ground become heroes because they can just shrug off blaster fire and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Well, yours-
they went pretty quick.
Yours can't.
Yeah, and they're the most armored of the lot.
So you know what I mean? Like, and I kind of think, again, it's just a personal preference. And I get it. I get it in an RPG. I get it in Dungeons & Dragons where you've invested hours and hours in your character. And the last thing you want to do is the GM go, you hit, too bad, you're dead. You want that one chance where you can go, roll my dice, see what happens.
It's another chance. It's another get out of jail card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I think it's a very good point. I think though, if you look at where Legion's aimed at, it's either aimed at hardcore gamers or beginners. And to say to beginners, oh, here you go. Oh, but you know, you just being hit by a laser blast. You know, take them off. I think you just see some little kid going, oh, what? You know, I didn't get a chance to. He's
yeah,
got
but at
armor.
the same
You
time, you're
think-
going, oh, okay, so you've hit me with Darth Vader's hit me with a lightsaber. Oh, not lightsaber, because that gets piercing towards defense. You know what I mean? Like, there's you hit me with this thing. Yeah, oh no, I saved it. I rolled a symbol. That means your hit doesn't count.
But I think Greg's coming at it from that very basic player that doesn't want to necessarily take the model off, and so they've gone. We'll use the RPG system because we don't want you to have to take said model.
Yeah.
Because
But
you
then
don't
they could have
necess-
sold
you
more
don't
models.
but you don't need to kill the models. It's about getting to the objective. So maybe they're happy. There's a bit of a trade-off for them.
Yeah.
To say, you know what, we'll try and keep as many of your models on the board to keep those folks happy. But realistically, it's about the objectives anyways. Possibly.
Yeah. Muddy, you've been very quiet. You got much to add?
I used to, well, obviously I was a big fan. I used to be a big fan of saving throws. But now that I don't have
Really?
saving throws, I actually
with
really
your,
like
with your
it.
cold one bus? You
Cold
like
one buffs.
saving throws,
Yeah,
did
with
you?
the Vanguard. Oh yeah, baby.
And Skinks that you could never shoot because.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Sorry, 40k on me. What is it?
He's so bitter. So bitter.
That was cancelled.
I do not miss saving throws whatsoever. You brought up Kings. So I hadn't played for a while, but it was so nice. You say there's no interaction, and even I say that, right? There's no direct interaction with that game. It's your turn, it's my turn. But there is interaction if you're actually playing an opponent because you can talk to them. You don't need saving throws to do that. So while I will say there's less interaction in the game with the mechanics, it doesn't mean I can't actually interact. And anyone that probably uses that as some sort of reason why you should have saving throws in a game, I don't think they're actually playing the game the way the game is probably supposed to be played. So I'm all for getting rid of saving throws. Speeds up the game, less mucking around. Talking Infinity, one of the things I've always said to you guys about Infinity is I find it a very slow game. It's 3 turns. And because of the AROs and with the saving throws, and we're trying to work out what you need to hit with all the modifiers and everything else. It's a very slow grind. I reckon if you could just get rid of even one of these extra elements to the game, it might speed it up a lot.
Yeah, I think it is interesting with Infinity. I do get it though. You've got like essentially, power armored knights that are, there's no weak points in their armor compared to a grunt wearing fatigues. And it's trying to make a differentiate because they don't have toughness. You don't have. It's not a game that have a physical attribute assigned to that model. So the only physical attribute is their armor save, what they're wearing.
But in a modern or a futuristic game, there's an arms race between defense and offense.
But if you hit the power armored dude with a bullet, for example, he's got a good chance of bouncing off because he is fully encased in steel as opposed to the guy in fatigues.
So you guys don't have you don't have
any toughness.
You don't roll to wound.
Yeah.
You hit and then
in fact, the toughness would be their armor.
Yeah, it's definitely factored in.
Yeah.
Oh, I can see that then.
So, and then you can increase the toughness by being in cover, which gives you a +3. So the highest modifier is 5.
Essentially, that's going to Fantasy Flight with the Legion. Covers essentially a defense.
Like for example, my Jodam. Standard troops are up to 5, but the Jodams are armor 10, so in cover it's armor 13. So like a normal rifle can't hurt it, which makes complete sense because it's a big beefed up tank. It's a walking tank. So the fact that a rifle can't hurt it, so to me that aspect of it makes a lot of sense. I think that's really clever. I think it's a very good idea. I do like it.
So leave the saving throws in
for skirmish games.
Just get rid of the AROs.
But not ABC.
Yeah.
I think it comes down to different systems. I think Kings of War have nailed it. I love it. I think Infinity have nailed it. I love it. 40k, I can't remember. That's how it's been that long.
The 2 games that we like the most are both designed around tournaments, but yours is a sci-fi skirmish game, and I'm still about the ranks and flanks.
But I still love Kings of War.
So it works.
I love.
They've got to be
I love
different.
the way Kings does it. I think it's very clever.
Well, it works for that game. It obviously wouldn't work for yours.
No. And I love the way ABC does it, which is nothing.
Yeah, if I had to make a preference, I'd want you to, instead of having saving throw, you stack mods to make you harder to hit. But once you hit, you hit. And that mods could be your toughness. It could be an armor that could come into the role to hit you, like it does in ABC. But I think it's an interesting one.
Legion's you're probably right. Out of all the games I've played, Legion's the one where I least like it. I like it in Kings. It makes sense. I like in Legion, a rebel trooper getting saved it seems silly, because they're not armored up. They don't have any.
Yeah. When do you ever see a blaster bolt ping off a rebel trooper's armor?
It never happens.
If they
and
get
they've already
hit, they go down.
They've already factored in the cover element of it. So
that's what makes me think. Like, you nailed it. I reckon it fits because thematically it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So there has to be another reason for it. I don't think that, like, these guys know Star Wars inside out. All right, your source books prove that, right? So they know that, but they've taken that anyway because there's another element that they want.
Another element of gameplay.
And I'm agreeing. I think maybe it's that because of the type of players that they think are going to play it,
it's
and what they're going to react to.
And the older wizened gamers or the hardcore gamers, they're not going to care. In fact, they'll probably go, "Yeah, got armor save, wicked." They've
seen it before,
hammering it and going, "Makes my dudes better."
Yeah.
And it works in equal measures for both, so they're not going to care.
Yeah.
But the younger players or the newbies, they'll.
I just taking models off
going. All of a sudden, you take my dude off because he shot him. Oh, hang on.
I think there's the third group there, though, is the people that want the cinematic experience. and they're the ones that are missing out because they've got Rebel Troopers
Yeah.
bouncing bolts.
But going back to so you can lose a game. This is what a good thing about scenario based games, right? And Kings is the same, Infinity's the same too, right? You can have all your models on the board, or you can have nearly all your models off, but you could still win the game. So you could lose the game, and everyone basically could still nearly have all their models on the board, and you lose the game. Okay, let's say. But you don't feel so bad because you got all your models. I agree with that. You actually okay, I lost, but I gave it a good run, and I've got a big chunk of my army still here, or your force, or whatever. I wonder if it's the same philosophy they've gone with,
Wouldn't that
with
make
the
you feel
Legion.
impotent? You go, I haven't lost anything and I couldn't achieve anything.
No, because I would sit there and go, you know what?
Took the eye
Look,
off the ball. How many times
this-
have you played
yeah.
a game you took the eye off the ball?
Never.
The other player has played the scenario better than I have. That's easy. That's an easier pill for me to swallow. To go, okay, I lost the scenario, and he took all my models off the board.
You get way less sympathy though. If you come up to me and said, "Oh, I fucked that one up," I'm going, "Oh, dickhead." But if you go,
Well,
"Oh,
either
I
way,
got
you've-
smash off the table," I go, "Oh, here, have a beer." Harden up a bit.
But you might not want to play again. afterwards.
exactly. And buy more models. Oh, you know what? I got beat last night because I was newbie. You know what? I'll go out and buy General Veers because I need him. So
General Views is
Let me
so good.
let me think about
Oh my god, you got to
I've
get
got
General
it.
Views.
what was the formula we came up with for Greg to like a game.
Let him win.
What happened
Yes, it
in
was.
What happened in Malifaux when I took all these models off?
Hated it.
He hated
Three
it.
dice.
Yeah, was
Three
it
dice
three or
is
two?
not- no, that's not a hit. That's normal. That's run of the mill.
Consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, three. We let him win Rumble Slam.
6 dice.
6 dice. He doubled the score
What are you getting at?
because he had models still on the board.
True.
Rumble Slam, you don't get an armor save. You don't get an armor save when you're in your tights.
That's why I like it.
I wish you could win Rumble Slam when you didn't have any models left on the board.
You needed to
I
get.
would have
maybe a
smashed you
lucky-
last night.
You might have got lucky random event card.
Oh, switcheroo. It's opposite
Wasn't there
day.
one that you could put a wrestler back on? Remember when we were
Yeah,
going through
yeah.
the cards when we first got them?
Yeah.
That would have been all right.
Yeah, it would have been good.
Yeah.
Interestingly, just going back to the
Rumble
old
Slam.
fancy days, where you said, you hit and then you wounded, and it's like, well, hang on a second, I've already wounded you. Why do you get an armor save?
Yeah.
Blood Bowl does it that way, where so you punch him out, then you roll to break armor,
Break armor.
Break armor.
then the wound.
Then you injure them.
exactly
Yeah.
right. So it's got the right, and you know what? As a player,
There's no armor save. I'm not rolling a saving
no,
throw
but
though.
you know what it does? It builds anticipation. How many times were you sitting there when you're trying to wound the person? So you've broken the
Getting
armor,
into it,
right?
yeah.
You smashed it. You as the player who's getting smashed is sitting there going, "Shit, I hope he rolls like double ones and doesn't roll high to kill me."
Yep.
And you as the player rolling the dice wants to go, "God, I hope this is double six to kill the player."
Yeah.
And that anticipation is pretty special.
But yeah, I mean, it's obviously they do it in fantasy that way because it's okay. I
Yes,
roll,
yes.
I roll,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
save. But it doesn't make sense.
But it doesn't make sense, but also it takes away the anticipation. It takes away
Yeah.
that moment of, shit, what's going to happen? Hope this isn't bad.
But that's
You
it.
know,
Because
you see
yeah,
that bite
okay.
nails.
So you hit me.
Yeah.
I roll my saves. I fail 10.
Yeah.
Save.
You
And
know.
then you shake him up and go, "How many
You know,
am I
yeah,
gonna
exactly.
fucking
How
kill
many-
right now?"
Exactly. How,
Bam.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
how that all of a sudden changes the dynamic.
It does.
significantly,
Yeah.
I would say.
And I'm sure fantasy players are listening to this now going, "No, you can't. No,
Don't screw with the
Oh,
mechanic."
God. Don't let the ninth age dudes hear this."
Yeah.
How you going, DT?
All right, so we might leave it there. That's an interesting little discussion. And we would love to hear what you guys think about the saving throw.
Or another idea for a mass debate.
Time for a listener question.
This one is from DT, and he
Okay.
says, "This one's for Dave. What do you believe is the right work-life hobby balance?
Oh, okay.
And who do you think achieves this the best in the group,
Ooh.
and why?"
That's okay, that's good. I can go with that. That wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Okay.
Good question, DT.
The easiest part is I can tell you who the most useless of this is.
That's
That's
tricky
Greg.
one. Yeah.
Dude, you're hopeless, man. Sorry, man, but you're hopeless. You're hopeless. You acknowledged it yourself, like when we talked hobby life balance. You're a wreck.
That was like a year and a half ago. And that was only because Alva Bravo Charlie was right at the cusp of either or working or failing.
You think your situation has really changed that much?
Can we just encourage our listeners, if you haven't, go back and listen to the Hobby Life Balance episode
It's a cracker.
from season 1. It's
It's eye-opening.
That's it. If I didn't have a drinking problem before it, I did afterwards.
What was the first part of the
So it
question
says,
again?
What do you believe is the right work-life hobby balance?
What is the right balance?
Jack in your work.
Well, I guess
Did you say jacking it at work?
Jesus. As long as your Visa card isn't maxed out, your kids are well looked after and nourished. They do sporting activities, and they have some time with yourself, and your wife has some time with you, and
Or your
you're
husband.
or your husband, and you're not slacking at work, i.e. doing hobby projects at work every 3 seconds and not getting your actual work done.
Accuse a government employee of...
Who the hell does that? What are you talking about?
I think that's a pretty good life balance, and I think you would know. I think you know when you're stressing over something a bit too much, or when you're getting it a little bit out. There's definitely signs there. I think you would notice them if you take the time to actually try to appreciate the signs and not push those signs aside, which I think a lot of people do. They don't want to know about it. It's like going to the doctor. You don't want to know. It's easy just not to know. So they don't pick up on the signs because they don't want to, and then things go out of shape pretty quick.
Can I jump in real quick? Because you just made me think of something. That goes both ways, though. I know blokes that are dudes in our gaming group. They're like, I can't game. I can't justify it.
That's a ruin of the balance. You need balance,
Yeah.
and they know.
Yeah. You can't if you cut yourself off from the things you love, it's going to come back and bite you.
It'll eat you up.
Yeah.
And you'll be miserable.
Yeah. And this isn't saying indulge your urges every time you want to chuck some
No,
D6s.
of course not.
But you have to make time for yourself and the things you love in your week.
Yep.
And that can be your kids, it can be your missus, it can be your work, and it can be your hobby. And if you're not making time for it,
Gambling and drinking.
well, in moderation.
In moderation. Like, I'm not a gambler. I don't know about you guys, if you've ever gambled.
I know I did those shots at that strip club that night.
That was a bit of a gamble. I can't do it. I tried doing the pokies. I get $2 and I'm like cashing it in. I don't understand I don't have that. I think it's something in your DNA that says, "Oh, that's really cool."
Oh, it legit is, yeah.
Yeah, it's addictive nature.
So if you have that addictive personality, you need to be aware of it. Like people that drink rum, that's the classic one. It astounds me. You got the happy rum drinkers, and then you got the punchy rum drinkers, right? I think this comes down to your mates as well. If I was going out every time we went out and we're drinking rum and I get punchy, I would expect you to be told, dude, you're not drinking rum anymore. It does not work in your DNA.
Yeah.
Right? That's an issue that you have. A grown adult would suck that up and go, well, that's not a good thing.
Well,
we're
they
doing,
drink
right?
half a bowl of rum and glass
Before, but I drink it before I head out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's, I don't know. I think you know it. Is the direct answer.
Greg, you
I
got
think you
any
know.
input on this?
Yeah, you should have some awesome input on this one.
Okay, here's a question for you.
Yeah.
So, okay, we've got an issue. What about if you keep buying hobby stuff and it just keeps filling up a cupboard? Is that the right balance?
No. I think there's a point, and I think I brought up even on the last cast, there's like a point where it's like, we're buying all this stuff, but there's not enough hours in the day. You said that earlier tonight. There is not enough hours in the day to get all this done. So you really need to start thinking about what you're actually going to use. Because in this golden age of gaming where there's just like a smorgasbord of stuff coming out, you can't possibly get it all done. So you really need to factor into the fact that, one, I can't paint it all. Two, I can't play with it all. And I'm just running up the credit card at that point, which is just going to piss the missus off.
Yep.
You know, and if you don't want your kids just eating 2-minute noodles, well, how many kids these days are going to school without even breakfast?
Yep.
I mean, a lot of the schools are now even putting on
That's
breakfasts
right.
in the morning
Yep, breakfast club.
because the kids aren't getting in breakfast. Like that's, you know, it's crazy.
No, I think, Jacob, you summed it up nicely. I think what you said earlier. At the end of the day.
I'm pretty intuitive, astute, well spoken, good looking,
I wouldn't go that far.
well hung.
I would not go that far. I don't know about any of that stuff.
I'm not,
Well hung.
but we're into different things though as well. Like we're into a lot of other things outside of just gaming too. I think that gives me a lot of balance.
Yeah, I think you absolutely nailed it there.
Like we're all into our sports. We fight about which codes, and I like doing my stuff, and you guys have things that you guys like to do. You used to do your band and everything else as well. Yeah. So, you've got ABC. I like exercising and stuff. So
I go running as well.
And
Just
you
started
do, that's right. Yeah. So that to me is actually really important. The gaming's actually because there's not enough time to do it. Like most of the time, you're doing it by yourself. So it's a pretty solitary sort of thing, really, isn't it? Yeah, so I find that gives me a lot of balance as well.
Yeah, cool. All right, then let's get into the second part of the question. What member of the PSG crew achieves work-life balance the best and why? Work-life hobby balance the best and why?
Well, it's not me.
No, it's between me and you, Jacob. But I don't know all the ins and outs of your life. You game more than I do, though.
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
a lot more than I do. I focus probably more time on other areas, but
it's got to do with my lifestyle too. With my wife working night shift 5 nights a week,
and you've got the kids, so you've got the place.
Yeah.
They go to bed.
So I'm on my own for 5 hours every night.
Yeah, and I'm on generally night shifts. So
Yeah.
when you guys are all sending text messages and stuff, I'm sleeping. When you guys are going to bed, I'm out roaming around. So, I don't think there's a winner in that one. I think we're both winners because we're
How about D6 it?
beating this tosser over here. Because clearly he's losing. So I'll take that as a win.
Not last.
We're not last. Yeah, you're always going to be that little bit faster than the slowest guy. Because he's the one that gets caught by the zombie.
Oh, I'm the fat kid.
You're the one that gets picked last.
Now. We know you're not the fat kid of the group.
You might be the fastest then too. Practicing running.
I've run all my life.
Us dwarves are very quick over short distances.
Didn't you say that just before he tumbled down the hill? Rolling.
Yeah.
Anyway, is that all the question?
That's all the questions.
Oh, sweet.
That's all you were dreading.
Did I get a pass there? Is that a pass?
You got off lightly compared to what DT was building up at BrizCon. He had you twisted in knots big time.
Yeah.
And we'll get to...
He did teabag me though. So.
He did.
We'll get to my question sometime in the very near future.
Freaking ninth age players, mate.
Too busy in the PDFs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Need some work-life hobby balance there.
I think he needs it.
Actually, there you
I'm
go.
calling you out, DT. Mr. 1 million games on was it Universal Battles?
That's only a month though. It's a million a month.
No, that's a week.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
a week.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I heard it was in an hour.
He's like the kid that plays chess, and he's got 18 games going on at the park, and
He's got
he
6
beats them all.
monitors with
Yeah.
Universal Battle games on
Yeah.
each one.
Yeah, he looks
And
like a...
messaging you and me at the same time.
Yeah.
Whilst trying to work out his next infinity list.
ABC lists.
And an ABC list.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so there you go.
God help
So
you.
I wonder who actually needs the...
Yeah, I think it's
balance.
him. Yeah. Focus on your sports more, dude. And your missus and your kid.
Do you reckon he should start lifting?
Yeah, he needs to lift, bro.
He is tan. He's got tan.
I did see him. It was pretty pathetic.
a bit weak looking.
Yeah,
He's like Bane, you know Bane when they disconnect his drugs in the Batman movie. I think turns into this little weedy kid. It was like that.
one of the fitness instructors had to come over and show him how to use the equipment. And then he went upstairs and did yoga.
All right, we're going to leave that there. Thanks, DT, for the questions. And if any of our other listeners have some questions, we'd love to hear them. Not that we don't love doing DTs, but...
Well, you got yours to go, yeah.
Yeah. We'll got that up the sleeve sometime in the future. All right. The next thing we want to do is have a quick cast update.
Time for a cast update.
Oh,
Buy our t-shirts. This is a big one.
You mean shop up there?
Yeah. Now, we mentioned the new merch in the shop, so get in and check it out. And I know I sound like a shill, but it does. Every dollar that gets spent in that shop comes back and supports the podcast. So we are looking in the near future to increase our multimedia presence. Muddy just... Was that a jizz or?
that was a light bulb.
Light bulb.
Yep.
So all the funds from our amazing Patreon backers and merch sales are going to get invested into that. So check it out.
Stay tuned.
The other thing that we want to do is thank everyone that responded to the call out for the female gamers. So I was actually surprised, overwhelmed with the responses we got. So
Where have they been hiding?
away from us, obviously.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Clearly, they don't listen to the
Are
show.
they all tabletop ladies, or are they
There's a mix.
multi
Multi gaming.
Okay. RPGs,
tabletop gaming, video gaming,
videos? Okay.
sort of stuff. Which is interesting, goes to show, the sort of where our listeners, not just coming from one area as well. But we will be getting in touch with everyone that responded and going from there. So look forward to that feature coming up in the near future. You guys got any cast updates?
How's the Twitter going?
Actually, Sean, one of our awesome listeners, Sean Houston, saw our Twitter thing, and we did it when we were up at your birthday.
Oh,
He said, "Oh, you guys actually do use this."
okay, oh yeah, we just started.
And how many tweets have you sent since then?
Not many.
The thing is, if you do start sending tweets, then we lose the punchline.
Yeah, that's a good point. You could have sent one when you were sleeping on that park bench. Had plenty of time to do
It
it.
was the park bench, and that was Photoshop. I'm sure that wasn't me. I don't recall doing that. Not me.
So I actually went back to the archives and I found a photo of Greg sleeping on tables at CanCon. So
Seems to be a trend here.
No, Photoshopped. Calling shenanigans right now. Someone's taken my head and stuck it in someone else's body.
I'm still waiting for that news feed to pop up on YouTube.
the Mooseheads update
Yeah,
from the
Mooseheads.
field reporter Greg.
That's right. Still haven't seen that.
All right. So thanks, guys. We appreciate all the feedback, and that's it. All right, ladies and gents, we're going to leave it there tonight. Thanks for joining us. Hope you got something out of that. If you want to make any comments or any questions, or you've got anything you want to know about this episode, get in touch with us on our Facebook page. You can send Greg a tweet. What's the handle? Looking at me blankly, it's at PS Gaming Podcast. Muddy, your phone's ringing. Oh, jeez. So give Muddy a call, and we can also use awesome ringtone every time that goes off.
Fucking album.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Send us an email, powerstancegamingpodcast@gmail.com. Subscribe to us on iTunes. Check us out on Podbean. thanks to all our amazing Patreon supporters, including
You're the
Kitty
cream
Lim,
of the crop.
DT, JT, Lucas Redshaw, and the rest. So thank you guys, appreciate that.
Cheers, guys.
And gents, anything you want to add before we finish up?
Keep on power stancing, listeners.
And stay tuned for the Infinity War spoiler chat coming up right after this.
Well, what do you think?
Ah, amazing. Blew me away. I didn't know how they were going to do it. I'm sitting there going, right, this is the distillation of 20 other movies into one to tie all the storylines together, and I thought they did an amazing job. So
I think the way they portrayed the bad guy, Thanos, I thought at the very end, I was like, not even at the end, the next day, I was saying to the missus, because we run as a family, I was like, the way they did it was very clever, because you could be on his side. You could go, yeah, he's got it. Like, he's a good guy.
yeah,
You could totally see it, like he's doing the right thing.
I think that's one of the good things about Josh Brolin's performance, is even through all the mocap, you can still see that in his mind, as he genuinely thinks he's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's that determination that he's
Gotta see it through.
It's his job to do it.
Yeah.
And he's going to see it through regardless of what it costs him.
Yep. And there's a few cliche moments that I thought were going to turn out, oh yeah, you just go, oh yeah, this is what's going to happen. And you go, oh no, that, didn't happen. Like whenever they're shooting the loved ones and all that sort of stuff, I thought, right, that's cool.
Can I jump straight to this? Because I haven't actually watched any trailers for it. I havenn't even watched.
Do we need to put a big spoiler alert right here?
Yeah, can you do the spoilers? Because the one thing my wife said to me is that do some people disappear or something?
Big time. Yep.
All right. Okay. So
literally half the universe.
Yep. It's not one you'll probably want to watch with your daughter if she's like anyone sensitive. Probably not a good idea.
So can I?
I think it's Spider-Man.
All right. So we've got a
Massive spoiler alert.
people who have not watched this. You
Skip
might need
ahead.
to go forward a couple of minutes or something, because I'm actually quite intrigued. So they threw everything in the kitchen sink in this one, right? As in regards to their IP. They've got Guardians of the Galaxy in there. They've got the big one, Spider-Man, the Avengers.
Most of
all
the
of them are in
Avengers.
there, right? Even the bad guy from Thor's
Loki.
universe,
Loki.
Ragnarok, Loki. Yep. Anyone
No,
else?
it's Spider-Man.
Doctor Strange.
The only ones we're
Spider-Man,
missing.
Doctor Strange is in there
So
too.
Ant-Man was missing. Wasp. There's a couple of Avengers were missing. Yeah.
The smaller.
Ant-Man and Wasp have the
characters.
next movie.
Yeah.
And then there's Captain Marvel. So she hasn't been introduced yet.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
spoiler alert,
alright.
she gets teased at the end.
Yep.
Okay, so but out of that list, then, like, what sort of fatalities?
It's half the universe.
Yep. Well, spoiler alert.
Okay, I'm
So-
gonna put my hands on my crystals. They won't kill Spider.
You did.
They did.
And to be honest, he was the worst.
He was
He
the worst.
was by far the worst.
Because he's apologizing as he's dying.
Yeah. And then he's like, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Like
Yeah.
this kid, and he's in Iron Man's arms, and he's like, I don't want to die, Mr. Stark. I don't. It's like really, holy shit.
heart-wrenching.
Yeah, I'm goosebumping right now. Yeah.
That was by
So
far
have-
the worst.
Okay,
I got a
did
daughter.
you guys get a rating bump for this or anything like that? Because you guys are sounding you're traveling DC. Like, you guys are darkening up here.
No,
it's not.
done-
It's
I
not
think
dark for the
Marvel's
sake of dark.
It was done in a very
And the
clever
way they
way.
went, it was much more about the emotional
Yeah.
impact rather than any sort
Definitely. Yeah.
of visceral. Like, they literally at the end when Thanos wins, clicks his fingers, they turn to dust.
Yeah.
And they fade away. It's not some agonizing, brutal death or
Oh,
anything.
Yeah, it's not like-
okay. Oh, right.
No,
They didn't do a
no.
DC style killings. Okay. Right. I was picturing. Yeah, I'm picturing like
Getting vaporized.
Spider-Man.
But see, that's the thing. Like,
Got some massive spear through him or
Again,
something,
like
and he's lying there bleeding out.
the
Right,
almost peaceful nature of them fading to
Yeah.
dust. It's tough because it's part of it. You almost think, is this is Thanos being merciful?
Yeah.
And he's just letting them fade away.
It's probably better for your audience.
But
by the sounds of it, though. It's a very clever way of of doing it, but doing it in a way that is reflective of the audience that they know they're going to have.
Yeah.
Because
Yep.
it's not that.
And that's
bleeding
because it wasn't. I don't think the deaths were done for shock, and I think
I reckon a lot of
that's got a lot to do with. It's not. It's much more a heavy hitting emotional thing, rather than
Yeah.
a shock value thing.
Yeah.
That's just me, but yeah,
I reckon a lot of the younger audiences probably walked out not really necessarily grasping what it
Yeah.
actually
yeah.
meant.
If you didn't know there was an Infinity War Part 2 coming in 3 movies time,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, my kids
Okay.
weren't.
Oh, wow.
They didn't like. They were more upset at the end of Rogue.
Was
you
the
know,
Punisher in
Rogue
that?
One? Because that's very much like Rogue One is like boom, they all go, and they're like the kids were sort of walking out going, well, hang on a second, like they're the good guys and they didn't make it out. They're like a bit confused about that. Whereas they didn't, they just took it as part of the course. I think they know that. I think in the back of their mind, they know with the franchise that they're going to come back anyway. Like, just know it's.
Well, the
not
other thing
really-
is, we know Tom
Yeah.
Holland's going to do Homecoming 2,
Mm.
which is the first movie after Infinity War Part 2.
But these are all But aren't these all different
No,
timelines?
it's all one consistent timeline.
The other thing is, they can't.
Oh.
They're
Yeah,
not-
all of the MCU, including the Netflix and the TV shows.
So what? Someone else is going to come along and click their
But
finger.
we don't know.
No, but
we
this
don't
is
know how.
Doctor Strange. Is
No.
Doctor
No,
Strange
he
dead?
went. He faded away too.
Oh, did they?
He faded away.
Strange went, yeah.
Did Strange go?
I thought maybe they'd
But
do
it's
some
the sort of thing
magical
because he
thing with
sort of
him.
does this thing before his big fight where he checks he goes ahead in time and checks all the possible outcomes, and he says, "I checked 14,000,007 possible outcomes, and there's only one way that this we get out of this, basically." And at the end, as he's fading away, he says to Tony, "This is how it has to be."
There's no way Marvel can turn around and get rid of just blank slate half their.
No, they can't. There must be another.
That's what we
plan.
said. We already know
Yeah,
Tom
Yeah,
Holland's
but-
going to be Spider-Man again.
even if that wasn't the
Yeah.
case, they're not going to turn around all the toys, all the franchise, all the merchandise out there for for everything. Black Panther, he buys it. They're not going to turn around and go, that's just we'll just either reinvent it or we'll bring new people in. It's just not going to happen. Like, they're going to bring them back somehow.
Although it's funny because they've already set up in some movies the next versions of characters. Like we've had Miles Morales mentioned in Homecoming, who's Spider-Man after Peter Parker, and we've had Shuri from Black Panther. She was Black Panther after T'Challa went. So we know that there's the next generation
Continuation.
ready
ready
to go.
to go. So is this their chance to almost
And something, I think it's the same with Iron Man. Because
Well, see, Iron Man's only got one more movie left in his contract.
yeah. Is that why
that's Infinity
do you
War.
think, because I think his missus is preggers, you think they're going to fast forward that, he'll have a kid, and then they'll fast forward the timeline maybe 18 years and have an Iron Man kid?
No, Pepper's not pregnant.
I don't know, I think you'll...
No, he said he dreamed he had a son.
Yeah, but she
had a kid.
and she was just left looking confused.
Yeah, but I think that's his relationship with Spider-Man. I think he's got a father-son relationship there. That's what that's kind of referring to.
Yeah, okay. Interesting.
That's how I read it anyway.
Yeah, I took it as he'd sort of had an inclination of the future.
Yeah. I don't think Pepper Potts would get pregnant unless Pepper Potts wanted to get pregnant.
Okay.
She'd just turn red and blow it up.
But a very good movie. Very good movie. Highly recommend watching it.
All right, who else do you think went? Just while we're doing a roll call.
Okay, so give me Thor.
No.
Thor survives.
Surely he not. He would. Yeah,
Yeah.
because he's
The original-
He's like he's the
Yeah.
the Marvel Superman. Yeah. What else you got? Give me a name and I'll say whether
Hulk.
they live or die. Oh man, he's almost indestructible.
No.
though.
That you learn that he's not.
Thanos kicks shit
Okay.
out.
Yeah,
wow.
Thanos beats him up so bad he doesn't come back.
He
He
scares
just
the Hulk away.
refuses to come back. Like Bruce, like
Oh, Bruce
really?
Banner's there.
and he's like, Hulk's like, oh, no, not doing it, not doing it.
Yeah, he literally comes out and goes.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
lord! How are you gonna watch
Yeah.
another Hulk if he comes back? If you just
No, there's not a story there. They're going to
Yeah.
develop
all
that.
right, okay, all right. Who else you got?
Loki. Yeah.
Ah, here we go.
Who else? Oh, mentioned Black Panther. The Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch.
She's in the second Avengers?
Can't remember.
Wanda, she's the psychic.
Should go.
Yeah, she won.
Should go.
All right. War Machine.
Go.
No, stairs.
Guardians, Galaxy, Star-Lord.
Really?
He goes.
The green chick.
Wait up.
Yep.
The green chick goes.
She gets
Yeah. Wait up, but
Yep.
Star-Lord,
Gone.
he got.
gone.
I thought he was like half god.
Yeah, well,
Was.
I suppose he killed his old man.
Yep.
So, and he was full god. Okay.
Oh, he's a Celestial.
Oh, Drax.
Good luck.
Drax the Destroyer. Batista.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
gone.
he's gone.
Rocket. Was it? Is it Rocket? Isn't it?
Yeah, Rocket.
But that's the little
Hamster. Yeah.
little animal
The
thing.
insightful rabbit.
He dies.
No, stairs.
He does.
Yeah.
Groot goes.
What? I can't figure out why certain ones
It
are.
was weird.
I
Star Lord was a big
What did
one.
they just
So,
roll?
yeah. I actually really liked. I thought Teenage Groot was hilarious.
Yeah. Oh, he was brilliant. Yeah.
For someone whose only lines are "I am Groot."
Yeah.
Like,
He's sitting there playing the computer like an old classic 1980s, battery operated
Yeah.
like Space Invaders game, and he's just being really
Yeah.
just narky, just like don't talk like.
Star Wars, like, I told you to do that, and he's, "I am Groot." Everyone goes, "Whoa!"
Going back to the deaths, do you think they just literally got a dice? And
No, there's a
just
reason behind it. Like
looked on the roster
reading
and
up-
went 1, 2, 3, you're
reading
dead.
up
4,
about
5,
it
6.
afterwards. The original Avengers is still there, so the Hulk, Thor, Iron Man, and then they're talking about
Yeah.
getting in
What about Captain
Captain
America?
America
Ant-Man,
and what do you call it? The guy with the
Wasp.
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye. They're talking about
Yeah.
getting Hawkeye back into it for the.
Because they mentioned both Ant-Man and Hawkeye saying that they're under house arrest at the moment,
Yeah.
and they're happy to stay there. That's why they weren't there,
Yeah.
because they're with their
Oh,
families.
right. Okay.
So
But then the big
Where's
thing,
the Punisher? Where's the Punisher rocking up? He'll clean up.
he's probably gone. He's dust.
No, mate. He wouldn't be there. He'd still be there.
but I'm really excited.
With his sergeant's pies.
I'm really excited for Captain Marvel though.
Yeah.
Like, that's gonna be pretty boss.
It's gonna be interesting. Oh,
Good luck. Good luck.
do the patch. What's it
rebuilding all
called?
this.
Nick Fury.
Oh,
Nick
yeah,
Fury.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
He's dead.
Yep.
Surely.
Just while I was dialing Captain Marvel's number, disappeared.
An old school
Pager.
1990s pager.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
the classic.
Because Captain Marvel's set in the 90s.
And how annoying
right, okay.
was that little bit? Like, it was at the very, very, very end of the movie. Like, normally it's like they do the stars, and then they do the teaser. This is right at the very end. And half the auditorium was clear. Like, people were just going, nah, there's no ending. I had to Google it to check that there was.
Yeah. Well, there always is. There's usually two. There's one, the mid-credit sting, and the post-credit sting.
Oh, is it one at the very, very end?
For most films, there's one right the very last thing you see.
One.
No, there's usually
Gotta
two.
wait. You have to wait.
Watch every movie
Don't
again.
get up. Don't.
Let's do it, PSG. Marvel
I
movie
can't believe
marathon.
Spider-Man.
Yeah. In
Spider-Man
the
copped
worst way.
it.
Like, out of all of them, he copped it the worst. Yes.
I still say Gamora hurt me the most.
Yeah, true.
Because again, massive spoiler.
Yeah.
Right? Thanos, she's his daughter. He throws her off a cliff, and you're like, there's a scene where he goes to get the Soul Stone, the last stone he needs for the Infinity Gauntlet, and the keeper basically says to give you have to give up something you love to get this, and then Gamora essentially starts laughing. She's like, "You don't love anything.
We've beat you.
You can never get this. We've won." And then he just sort of grabs her and just starts walking over to the cliff. And she starts realizing, and there's this bit where she's like banging on his arm, like, you know, when you like dragging your kid and they're trying. It wrecked me. That was, and like, he just hoiks it from the cliff.
Yeah, that was bad. That was pretty bad, actually.
Yeah. And because he genuinely loved her, but his goal was to save the universe.
Was more important. Yeah. Yeah. Can't make an omelette without breaking a few eggs.
I must admit, I don't like Spider-Man's suit. That was my only
Spider.
Yeah, my only criticism is it's
Iron Spider. So
it's that was one step too far.
Starks does his
One
suit,
step
does
too
he?
far. Yeah. It gives him like a full-on, like nanotech spider suit.
Okay.
That's you can fly in space with, basically. Yeah.
It's a
Yeah, I know. But still, it's just like, oh, come on. You know, like the Homecoming spider suit was perfect.
What did you think of the dwarf?
Oh, Brilliant. The dwarf is Game of Thrones Tyrion,
Tyrion.
but not a dwarf. He's a dwarf, but he's
a dwarf.
He's about 50 foot high. He's a giant.
Where's this?
This is in the Starforge where they go to create Thor's axe.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
which is
So he's
awesome. The fact he's got this axe now instead of the
Yeah.
hammer. I thought that's so clever.
Oh yeah. What's the go with? I
Yeah,
like
no,
the
but he's got an
hammer.
axe now. It's even better.
His sister destroyed it.
And he goes and wrecks bad guys with it. So good.
That battle was pretty damn cool.
Yeah. So, listeners, if we haven't ruined it for you, go see it.
Thank you for listening to Power Stance Gaming Podcast, the #1 place for tabletop gaming and hobby banter. You know you love us. See you soon.